Squad up, haters down. If you ain't about that life, don't come around. Got the crowd, gone wild. Tell me what you know about that Mem style.
Yo, y'all know what time it is, man. It's the Memphis Jelks show. Yeah, buddy. Y'all thought we was gonna give up this week, man. We going strong every week on y'all, boy. Yo, good evening, man. Good evening to everybody out there, man. Thank y'all for watching, man. We appreciate everybody who's been supporting the show so far. We've been bringing some really great guests onto the show, you know what I'm saying, to drop some gems on everybody, you know what I'm saying, because we bring the show on weekly to inspire y'all, man, you know what I'm saying. We bring some people on here, man, who can really help y'all in y'all life, you know what I'm saying. It's not a game. And if you feel like you got some game and that you can help somebody, you know what I'm saying, holla at us, man. We'll have you on the show. If you on YouTube, man, you know what I'm saying, hit that like, you know what I'm saying, that like button, you know what I'm saying, and bring some more people in. If you on Facebook, you know what I'm saying, hit that like and share button. If you on Twitter, you know what I'm saying, retweet or re-X. What's up with that anyway? What's up with that Twitter X? You know what I'm saying? What the heck? Why they take the bird off, man? I like the little bird. It's crazy as heck, man, but you know what I'm saying? It goes a little something like this.
Drums, please.
Oh, is in the building.
What's up, man?
Oh, what's up? What's up?
What's going on,
Man, hey, they've been like, oh, need to put a title under his name. I said, dang, they pay attention to everything.
Man, listen, I appreciate them looking out for me, man. I put something on there tonight for them, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what's up right there, man. Founder of Mascots Entertainment. Yes. Man, so you know, we got to talk about the big topic that's going on this week, man. They done indicted Trump. What the heck?
Hey, they said they were gonna get him, man, and they got him.
Trump can't win for losing, can he?
They're gonna get that sucker in jail, whether it's this charge or the next charge, they're gonna get that man in jail. You hear me? They trying their best.
Goodness grief, man. Man, I don't know what to think about that, man, because you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I don't really get into politics like that much like that, you know what I'm saying? If you are going to get into politics, I feel like it's better to get into your local politics.
Man, listen,
you know
that's where you have the most impact at, in my opinion.
Me too. Yeah, you have the most impact, you know what I'm saying? Because what they're doing at that high of a level rarely trickles down to your local area, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep. So how your week been going? Oh,
man, it's been going good, man. You know, trying to get over this toothache that I had, but I've been good, man. It's been pretty good. You know, work steady. Weather's been nice finally here in Chicago, man. So it's been good. How you been, bro?
What do you describe as nice weather?
The sunshine.
Okay. I'll take that because
it's still hot, man. But
okay. I was gonna say that's what I was gonna say. I was like, yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you the sun out, but it's hot as a mother, bro.
Hey, global warming, man. Global warming.
Whichever
one they use, I don't know, man.
Let the politicians tell it. There ain't no such thing. Ain't no such thing as global warming. But it's just hot. You know, let them tell it. Oh, no, it ain't no global warming.
Nah, what's that? What's that?
Right.
Come on now, guys. It's just hotter outside. That's it. Come on.
It's just 100. Yeah, it's like 120. I ain't never seen nothing like it though, man. But yeah, man, shout out to Trump, man. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully your lawyers, you know what I'm saying, can do you a solid, you know, get you up out of that mess, man, or whatever. I don't like to see nobody go to jail, man. Jail is hell.
Hey, listen, sound like he about to do that time.
No.
You do the crime, you gotta do the time.
That'll be the first time ever in life that a president then got locked up.
Yeah.
Dang.
You know, that'll be a precedent that'll be set, so I don't know, man. I'm sure on both sides of the field, they like, we want to do something because we don't want him to run again, but at the same time, we don't want to get in a situation where, like, if someone else does this on the other side, that they'll go to jail too, So it's a fine line that they playing and that they walking, but it's politics, man. That's why I try to stay out of it, man. That ain't my realm or my lane. But I advocate for what I want, and what I feel like things, should be changed and how things should be done. I'm always going to, vote, whether it's a good group of people running or a bad group of people running. I still take the opportunity to exercise that right to vote, but I don't know, man. It's getting crazy out here.
Yeah, it is getting crazy out here, man. Yo, but I ain't gonna hold them though. You know what I'm saying? I am not gonna hold them because I got a guest that's gonna blow y'all mind tonight.
Yes, sir.
I mean, he's my cousin, and I can't believe some of the stuff he be doing, man. Like, man, it's all love, man. That's like, I appreciate him like a mug for joining us. And this episode, man, is for anybody out there, man, who want to learn about credit and finances, getting your financial situation in order. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, like me, for one thing, I was gonna save this, but I'll ask him whenever he come on. But you kind of go through levels in life where, okay, at one point you're making this amount of money, right? And then you end up getting like a different job, or you end up getting some sort of raise or something, and then you start making substantially more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if your mindset changes at that point from when you had less to now that you're making more, because they say a lot of people, like, they're so used to living beyond their means or up to their means, or kind of check to check, to where no matter how much money that you give them extra or pay them extra, they still find a way to live check to check still.
And, I really, and I know you just was, putting your question out there, but I really will say, I think life in general has a way of playing a factor in that too, right? It's one thing to go from 30K to 40 to 50 to 60, but it's another thing to go from like 45 to 125, right? That's just drastic. And maybe that happens in a 3-year span versus a 10-year span. So I think sometimes the outside circumstances make a difference in how you view it and how you look at money. And I think, and I'm sure he's the expert, not me, right? I'm sure it's about the relationship that you have with money. I think that's the biggest thing, like, I've learned in my life that I have with money, man, makes the biggest difference. And I understand it about myself. I'm not a person who lies in the middle, man. I'm either spending or I'm saving. There is no in between for me. But I know that about myself. But I have a wife, though. She's in the middle, dog. And she be holding that thing down. And she is part of the reason why we are so successful. Because I'm the person who is like, man, either I'm saving every cent I got or I'm spending everything I got, But, I think there are a lot of different factors that play into that. So I think, for me personally, I think you have to understand your spending habits, the type of relationship you have with money, and try to figure it out from there. But, man, we got an expert. We
have an expert here.
This is why
tonight,
we had this episode tonight, right?
Yes, he is the main reason that we're having this episode, and it's in order to not only enlighten me, but to enlighten the viewers also. And the phone lines are open, so if y'all want to call in and ask some questions live, y'all can do that too.
Put them in the chat.
901-410-0123. It's in the chat. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna hold y'all no more, man. This is somebody that I'm super proud of, man. Super proud to say that we're family, and he's my cousin, man. I know our moms are watching, so hi, Mom. Hi, Aunt Glenn. Are y'all ready for the one and only
Drums, please.
Ryan Henning is in the building. What's
Welcome
up,
to the Memphis Jelks
cuz?
Show.
Going on, man. Look, that intro, I ain't had an intro like that ever in my life.
Love.
I feel like you made me feel like Jordan the '98 coming out the tunnel. I ain't never had that.
Well, shoot, man, you make us feel like Pippen and Cool Coach, man, because we glad that you joined us tonight, man, and you know took the time out of your busy schedule, man, to be on the Memphis Jelks Show. Thank you, cuz.
Look, when you hit me up, man, I say thank you for the opportunity, man. Like I said, I anytime I can support, especially when it's family, you know, I'm always come running. But it's just the same. I appreciate being on your platform. You exposing me to your audience as well, man. I appreciate it totally.
Anytime, cuz, man, anytime, man. You family, and you know you're welcome anytime. I tell anybody who come on the show that you know they're family and they're welcome anytime. But you are actually really family.
really real family, real blood.
Oh man, cuz, man. So shoot, we ain't gonna hold them, man. We gonna just let them know, man. If y'all want to call in, y'all got any credit questions, if y'all got any financial questions about getting your finances in order, the number to call is 901-410-0123 because we got an expert, the guru, on the line right now on the show, and we are so grateful.
Compliments, man. Look, you gonna think I'm out here like Barack. I'm Barack, Bill Gates, all in one, man.
You are, man. You are Dave. You're our Dave Ramsey, man. Seriously.
I can do the best I can with what I got, man. You know, I just got a lot of stories behind it, a lot of struggle behind it. So I'm just happy to share that any way I can to help somebody else.
That's real, man. That's real. So the viewers, man, they probably want to know, like, you know, like a little bit about your background. You don't got to go all the way back or nothing. You know what I'm saying? They just probably want to know a little bit about your background. So I'm going to let you speak.
All right, man. Yeah, no problem, man. Well, look, first off, like, my name is Ryan Henning. Man, look, I grew up, small town in Illinois called Decatur, very small town, retirement town. Growing up, I wish I had a story about growing up in the projects and just really having a struggle. But honestly, I would be dishonest if I told that story. Truth be told, I had a very loving family, 2-parent household, middle class, very loving aunties, uncles, a whole lot of support that, you know, when you have that uplifting, especially at a young age, it makes a lot of difference in the long term. Just keep that in mind for everybody. From there, around 2000, we go from Illinois to first Alabama, and then soon we moved to Georgia with my mother and father. Go through high school, graduate from high school. We don't go to college initially because we don't know what we want to do. So there was no point. I think I stayed out for half a semester, went for half a semester, flunked out of college for one semester, took 2 classes, flunked both, wasted my money and probably my mother's money. And then, from there, it was just a journey. That next decade, it was just a journey of job to job, check to check. And then you have kids, and then, which would be probably the theme of this whole entire episode is just, pivoting. It's just really knowing when to pivot, and when these opportunities come, you got to take them. And that's how, we end up getting where we at now. Reignland LLC has been in business officially going on 3 years. We just celebrated our 3rd year anniversary. I'm co-owner with my wife, Summer Rain. If anybody follows her, Summer Rain Henning on TikTok. She's an influencer. She helps out on the business end. She is definitely the superstar of this relationship. None of this happens without not only our teamwork, but I don't even think I could even do half the things that I'm able to accomplish without her on my side. So I'm forever grateful for her. And man, we're just here just trying to, educate people. We're trying to help people. We're trying to be an example for people to know that, man, you don't have to really start off, in a dire situation. Just like you don't have to start off with a lot of advantages to be able to make it to where we're at.
Nice. So the name Reignland, man, it looks dope on the apparel. It looks dope on the on that chain. But the audience wants to know, like, why the name Reignland?
Oh, that's a good question. So I know we first were thinking of names for the company. We were already kind of in business doing other things. Like I said, my wife, now girlfriend at the time, she was doing everything from painting shoes to making t-shirts and just doing everything she could because she's a natural born hustler. So, but she still had a regular job. I still had a regular job. So when we're thinking of names or just what we wanted to represent, I am a big fan of names that, represent something bigger than myself. So when I start thinking of things or the thing that I want to represent, I want to represent royalty, regalness, even just the word reign in itself. It just means just to kind of conquer over and to be able to control, a certain land. And when I kind of stepped out into that space, I was like, man, I don't know what I want to do yet or where we're going to end up, but I know I definitely want to take over whatever area that is. I want to reign over that area. And that's where, Reignland just kind of just popped in my head, and we weren't sure at first, but then we said we're going to go with it, which is also going to be a theme of all this. Is like, once you have an idea, you can go change it later on. But you at least got to act on it now. So we put Reignland out there, and people bit, and now the rest is history.
Dope, man. I love it, man. I got to order me some Reignland gear too. I've been checking out some of the merch. You know what I'm saying? So
look, please, like I wish, look, right now, I'm gonna send you one of our Seer Entrepreneur t-shirts. They on the website. That was specifically for everybody out here who has multiple things going on, who has a dream of having, 7, like average millionaire has 7 streams of income, and that didn't necessarily have to be 7 different things. It could be 7 different streams out of one pond. So, we definitely going to send you a couple of those t-shirts, and I get you the link for those as well. Maybe we'll get a little discount too.
Okay, love on that, cuz, man. So backstage, we were kind of talking, and you were saying, like, that you had to pivot. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like everybody should hear the story. You know what I'm saying about not only you pivoting, but everybody here has had a point in their life to where they were going in a certain direction, and then they had to pivot. So, can you kind of give us like what made you, you know what I'm saying, like go into the direction of ownership and entrepreneurship?
Oh yeah, man, no problem. So I can tell you now, just to start off completely, growing up, I didn't have a dream of being an entrepreneur. I had no intention of working for myself. Even early 20s, I had like entrepreneurship was just not something that I thought was attainable. And a lot of that maybe had to do with the fact that, like, growing up, there weren't a lot of full-time entrepreneurs around us to pull from. There was a couple of people, but even growing up, entrepreneurship back when I was a kid was you were a rapper. That's what an entrepreneur was. And even then, like, you didn't even know the fine details about a record label. You just knew, like, hey man, I'm a rapper. That was as close to entrepreneurship as I had growing up. So when it comes to pivoting, my whole life up to this point has been a pivot, because even growing up where we were raised, back in Decatur, Illinois, like I said, the town is so small. There's not a lot of success stories coming out of that city. There's like maybe 1 or 2, but not really on a grand scale. Nobody that I knew had anything going on of substance either. So one of my first pivots was my parents deciding they wanted to get in a different environment. So going from the Midwest to the South, you can attest, is a complete culture shock in terms of the way people treat you, Southern hospitality. It's a different mentality altogether. So that's the first culture shock. So you kind of realize, okay, you have to be able to assimilate to a different kind of people. And then you go from there to getting through high school, realizing that everybody telling you growing up is you go to high school, you graduate high school, you go to college, you get a good job, you work that job for 4 years, you retire, and then that's it. That's the end of the story. So that's exactly what I was going to do until I graduated, and then I realized I didn't want to go, and there wasn't no point in going because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. I just knew I didn't want to just sit at home and do nothing. But when you end up going to school and flunking out, now you don't have a choice. Now I have to get out here and pivot and work a job. I've worked at bowling alleys. I've worked stocking shoes in the women's department at JCPenney's. I've worked at a Cracker Barrel. Shout out to Cracker Barrel. I worked at a iron factory for like 90 days. That wasn't for me. All trying to figure out and navigate what I want to do and how can I put myself in position to be financially stable. Because before you could even get to the point of thinking hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, generational wealth, you first want to just get to the level that your grandfather got to, which was just having a stable paycheck. So you're not even allowing yourself to get to a point of thinking about six figures, $1 million to kind of go from there. So there you go. So it's, going from there, we kind of pivot. We work in a regular job. I worked at Cracker Barrel for 8 years. Went from washing dishes to making pies, to making macaroni, to making bread, to being on a grill, all while trying to figure out, still not making enough money to really get by. And this is before inflation that we're dealing with now. Everybody's feeling that right now. So that's when the last pivot kind of started. It was like, you know what? I don't know quite what I'm going to do, but I know I'm not going to do this for the next 10 years, the next 15 years, the next 20 years. There's got to be more to life than just me going, clocking in, clocking out, and still not having enough to be able to enjoy all this hard work I'm putting in. And that's how the whole company, the premise of the company was formed in the first place.
Drums, please.
Yo, that's the thing about being live, man. If your finger slips on the accidentally hit the wrong button, yo, you can't even do nothing about it, yo. There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Yep. So what I was gonna say, man, was like when you were working like at jobs like at the Cracker Barrel and things of that nature, were you giving those things your all too? Because a lot of people, they want to wait until they become what they feel like is successful or in some successful role and then say, I'm gonna go all in then whenever I get there.
Right. And to be honest, look, I can say it now from a perspective being where I came from to where I'm at now. I can honestly say in the beginning, I did not. And I think because we kind of get into a monotonous type of schedule to where we're just trying to go day by day. We count our time is counted Friday to Friday, weekend to weekend. We don't really do anything in between. So in the beginning, I did not, because I was just kind of going through the motions. Looking back, and just what I would tell people is anybody who tells you that, like, yeah, I'll get it right when I get to that level, they're lying to themselves, because you're not even going to get to that level without putting in the work now. Like, you build habits along the way. You don't build habits when you get there. So all those jobs that you're working and you think you're not getting paid enough, if you have a job where you feel like you're not getting paid enough, if you ask anybody who feels that way, if you ask them just simply, have you asked for a pay increase since you've been there? They'll probably tell you no. Well, why haven't you asked for a pay raise at the job yet? Well, I don't think they're going to give me one. Well, why not? Because either they're not going to give you one because they can't, or they say they can't, or you know within yourself that you haven't given it 100% effort. And if you're not putting in the work when the checks are small, when you actually need these small checks to survive, then why would anybody believe that you're going to get to making 6 figures, 7 figures, some people even 8 figures, and you're going to be able to do what you need to do and keep motivated? The one thing that seems to motivate you, which is the finances, the money, once you reach that, you're going to have to find other things to motivate you. Because I know a lot of people tell you that money isn't everything, and I'm not going to tell you that, because money matters. Money gives you the ability to afford to make certain moves and do certain things that you cannot do without it. Without security and without comfortability with those security of finances, you're not able to kind of branch out and do other things. So it's definitely necessary. But those habits are going to be the reason why you're able to sustain that lifestyle or sustain that income over an extended period of time. So you have to put in the work right from the beginning. And that's when you put all those baby steps together, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. You know, you may not realize it that first step, but if you take that first step, then that second step, fifth step, sixth step, month go by, 2 months go by, you're going to realize that after a while, you've gotten way farther than you would have gotten instead of just complaining about 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 5, 2 steps, 3 steps. Like, you got to form those habits. That's going to be the thing that gets you sustainability when you get to that level.
Nice.
So this is what I'll say. I think that was a great point. But I'll add this little bit to the end on it that I'm finding out like right now. You can have great habits, but you shouldn't also forget to refine and redefine those habits and not be afraid to invest in those habits, right? Not be afraid to invest in improving what you've already built upon. Because I'm in a place now where, like, I had some good habits that's got me to where I am now, but now it's like when you're at a different level, sometimes the expectation and the amount of effort and time changes. And sometimes it can change minimally and sometimes it can change drastically. And I'm kind of at a point now where it's like, yo, you gotta change some things, right? Because like what you wanted to do, it's accessible now. It's in your scope now. It's within reach now. But I think a great example, right? A person like yourself who has a business that helps people with finances and credit, right? That's what I would call an investment into enhancing the habits that I already have to get me to the final stages or get me to the next level that I'm looking for. And so sometimes we can be standing on the platform and we need a little bit of assistance on that level that we're on. So I love that, man. I love that. That rings home because I'm in a space right now where I need to refine it. I need to tighten up on it.
Oh yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with having to, you know, everybody goes through it. Even millionaires that we know now, every now and again, you have to go and tighten up those screws, so to speak. Because even your millionaires have millionaire mentors or your millionaires have billionaire mentors. Because you always do need, I use the perfect word, you always need to refine. Even if you work and I try to tell people, a lot of the principles that you learn, like your 9 to 5 is going to be your best friend and you don't even know it yet. Because a lot of the traits that you learn from that job, you're going to be able to apply on your own once you get out here. So a lot of those principles, like even on a technical side, so your payroll, your scheduling, put that aside. Even just the basic principles of what is my task for today? Who can I refer to be able to get the information that I need to get to this next level? And a lot of people, to your point, don't want to, for whatever reason, invest in themselves because a lot of people don't invest in themselves because they don't believe in themselves. A lot of people go get into things with an expectation that one thing is going to change their entire life instead of looking at it like this one thing is going to be able to springboard me to the next level. And then when I get to that next level, I'll be able to scope that landscape and then be able to see, okay, what do I need now that I'm here? What do I need to get to that next level? And then when you get up there, it continues. So it never ends, but it starts with you being able to identify what do I need to get to better than where I'm at now? What is it going to take? And also, am I willing to do what it takes to get there? A lot of people want to be millionaires, but if you look at billionaires, a lot of them don't have a lot of family time. A lot of them don't take sporadic vacations. A lot of them don't have work-life balance. So if you're not prepared for that, you may not even want to be a millionaire. Instead of saying, man, I want to be a millionaire, I guarantee if you ask anybody you know how much money they think it would take to be comfortable, most people would say $1 million. And then when you ask them, okay, well, what would you do with it? They don't have an answer because you've never really took the time to take out and really survey the landscape and see, okay, how much money does it take for me to first cover my basic necessities? And then the things that I want to do, how much money would that take? You got to start there. And then once you start there, then you can kind of go forward from there and figure out how to do the rest. But it all starts with you making that determination for yourself and figuring out what I need to do just to be better than what I am.
Interesting, man. Because you know, made it to a certain level, you know, like financially, and then I had a financial advisor. He would call me a lot, and he actually worked with a lot of the people at my company, and he was wanting to, you know, make me a client as well. But my first instinct was I don't make enough money to need a financial advisor. What do you think there's a certain threshold that you need to reach before you you know, reach out to somebody for help, like a financial advisor, or maybe if I want to sign up for Reignland official, is there a certain like plateau that I need to be on, or could I start even if I am like not making a ton of money?
No, so I know specifically with us, for example, with our credit academy. Our credit academy is for everybody. So you don't have to make a certain amount. You don't have to have a certain type of credit score. We've helped people who've had 500 credit scores and their credit was, severely messed up. And we've also educated people who've had 700 credit scores but didn't have the profile, because a lot of people don't understand it's not about the score itself as much as it is about the profile. So that's why you can see somebody who is 19 years old with a 700 credit score because they have no accounts on their profile. But when they try to go get a car or they try to go get something that requires a credit pool, they get denied because in a lender's eyes, I use the word face card, like your face card doesn't show that you have the capability of paying us back. So it's not about the score. It's about showing us that you over a specific period of time were able to pay this amount that you agreed to pay over this amount of time. So the more accounts you get, then that's how you end up getting those loans and those mortgages and those car notes from there. So that's what we try to teach people is we don't take people in. I do advise people before they spend the money that they have a conversation with themselves about their expectation, because I don't go into anything, and I've invested in coaching, mentors, programs, and I've spent 4 or 5 figures on these type of things, especially events, masterminds. And I've changed my mentality is even if I go, whoever is speaking or whoever is teaching or whatever I read, this isn't going to be the thing that is solely responsible for my success. This is going to be a piece to a bigger puzzle of success. So even if I go to this mastermind, or even if I take this class, or even if I get this mentor, he is going to give me, or they are going to give me as much information that they have to get to that point. The person is only going to be able to give you as much information as they can up to the point that they are at, or that you're capable of learning. So we always tell people right off the bat, I don't guarantee that you'll be successful because I don't know what type of work ethic that you have. So you may get all the information and just may not be an applicator. If you are not an applicator, it doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter how many courses you take. It doesn't matter how many mentors you have. You're not going to get where you want to go because you're always looking for the next thing. So in our regard, we always teach that. In terms of just like you said, somebody like yourself, look, I don't have a financial advisor other than my wife. My wife is one of my biggest financial advisors because frankly, we don't make any decisions separately.
Yeah.
So
Same.
Yep.
You just need people around you who understand money or want to learn about money and finances, and y'all can have those conversations. Truth be told, us as a community, we don't have those conversations that we should be having when it comes to finances, when it comes to money, because we're so secretive, because we don't want anybody to know that we're doing bad with our finances. And sometimes that's even whether it be our close friends, our spouses, even before we get married, we're afraid to let them in. We'll let them in about all our other things, but we won't let them into our finances and be like, man, what are you spending your money on? What are you investing your money in? And I think before we start getting to financial advisors and paying somebody else, we need to start by trying to educate ourselves on what is your money doing that you already making? The money, like, where does your check go? Start there. do you have any room after you pay your expenses to go ahead and take care of what you need to take care of? And then you can kind of branch out like, hey, I see you doing your thing. What are you doing with your money? What are you investing in? And then, so we have financial advisors all around us. We're just afraid to talk to them because they're people who, are doing better than us. And sometimes we just don't like talking to people who are doing better than us because we're worried about being judged. Because there are people all around us who, even if you have a podcast and you haven't monetized it yet, and somebody else has a podcast and they have figured out a way to monetize it, but you're afraid to reach out to this person like, hey, how did you get to the level of monetizing your platform? That question in itself could get you set for the next 6 months to a year to get you take off. But a lot of people are afraid because they're afraid of financial advisors. When you have them all around you, you just have to just take action and apply that information and kind of take your pride and your ego out of it.
Oh, that's the word. That's the word. Pride.
Right.
That's the one. Pride.
Right.
That's the one I also struggle with. Yeah. So that's the word. Pride.
Yeah, man. It's like the syndrome of going to a psychiatrist or something, or psychologist, like where we grew up, it's kind of shunned or looked down on. But that could be that could play a major role, like you said, in you being successful or not. Also, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want to go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist or something. And a lot of times, man, I tell a lot of people, man, a lot of us got PTSD, man, just from losing people and stuff around us and stuff. I mean, like when I was 15, I lost like one of my best friends to gun violence. Do you think I went and saw a psychiatrist? Nope. I just kind of prayed about it and then just kept moving. But there were things, we had plans, we had plans for next week. That now we got to switch those plans for next week. Or we had plans for, to make it into music and stuff like that. I have friends I've lost due to like sickle cell and stuff like that. Yeah. Really, really close friends. And we have like brother type bonds and stuff. And, I'm sure a lot of people out there have struggled through loss and losing people and stuff like that. And there's just this stigma around it. So do you think in some ways, do you think that people have a stigma sometimes about, like calling the number and being like, yo, Reignland, man, I need y'all help, man?
I do. I think there is a stigma. I think there is a stigma in our community and also when it comes to business in our community, because in my opinion, it seems like sometimes there is a competition to see whose story is worse, like whose struggle is more superior. And everybody likes to come up until you actually get there. And then they try to tear you down a little bit, because like we were talking about before we got, on air, is if I'm successful and I look like you and I have a background similar to you, if you can't justify why I made it, then it's going to make you question why you haven't made it. And to your point about the PTSD, a lot of people have never addressed these issues. So, if the average person can't even sit in a room by themselves because they get kind of caught up in their own thoughts, that's kind of what happens to some people, where they can't say, hey, and this is across, whether it's mental, business, personal, a lot of people just can't say what they need. You may need somebody to talk to, but you're afraid of being judged. You may need some financial advice, but you're afraid somebody's going to call you broke. Or because you spend your money erratically and because you spend your money on the wrong things in this moment, you're afraid to tell somebody that because you don't want them to judge you, not knowing that they used to do the same thing. And I think before we even get to the part about trying to even speak on generational wealth and the wealth gap and having millions of dollars and putting people on and bringing everybody with you, you got to first recognize whether your shoulders are even strong enough to even carry the weight that comes with bringing everybody with you. That's a major burden if you are not prepared for that, because we come from families where if you're the 6-figure earner or you're the millionaire, you're probably the first 6-figure earner or first millionaire. So there's a lot of things that come with that just based off generationally, we're less prepared for than some of our other counterparts. So before you even get to the point about trying to say you're going to do this for grandma or do this for your cousins or do this and do that and put money in their hands and give them businesses, you have to educate them first. Like, you shouldn't have anybody around you who isn't trying to be educated. So instead of asking for a handout or asking for $5,000, $6,000 for this, they may be like, hey man, like, that credit course, man, like I'm interested, I'm trying to get my stuff together, how can I get in? I'll probably give it to you for free just because you my people, because I want you to be educated. And then once you go through it, once you show me that you're trying to, do better, even if it's at the risk of your last dime, oh yeah, we could rock then, because now I see like, okay, you're committed. Like you're not just trying to do it just because you think it's easy or you think, okay, I did it. Because there's a difference between you thinking that you can do it because you have the basic fundamental skills and just need some guidance, and you thinking that you can do it only because I did it and you're better than me. Like, oh, he did it and I know I'm smarter than him. That's a lot of our mentality. So before we even get to that point about trying to help the people around us, we have to first identify, like, okay, how do we get here in the first place? Why am I terrible with money? Like, why do I keep having to buy these things before I pay the bills? Like, why do I need to do these things? What is it about my psyche that has me going to the club paying for the VIP every week instead of taking that same money and investing it into something else that may grow slower, but it's going to be more beneficial to me long term than me blowing the money in the VIP? I can get the VIP later. I can get the VIP later on. Right now I'm trying to plant this seed, but a lot of times it's like a farmer. If you don't have any farmers around you, if you stay in a non-rural area and you talk about planting seeds and growing trees, there are no examples around you of that happening. But if you go to the South, if you go to the farm, if you go where there's pigs and there's trees, there's fruits, there's vegetables, there's people who've been doing this, well, you're not going to have no choice but to go ahead and soak up as much information as you can to make that tree grow. And I think that's where it starts.
I think that was a phenomenal analogy, because I think what people fail to understand that if you haven't learned how to be a farmer, then it's hard to grow something. And sometimes it's the truth is, right, it's the generation before us that didn't do it, right? And so that's what struggle, right? Because we don't have the example of doing some of these things. And so if we never get exposed to it, then it's going to be difficult the further we go. But I think sometimes people have a hard time seeing like what's happening. I think you made the comment is, oh, if he can do it, then I can do it. But I think people forget there was a time period, right, where you had to grind and work some things out, and they don't understand what that process was about. And so I think sometimes it's just a simple thing. Say, hey man, I can't afford your course right now, but give me some resources that I can use that can help me where I am until I can afford it.
Right. You got to take that step. You just got to take that step of the conversation. Just reach out and be like, look, man, I ain't gonna lie, I don't have it, but man, I really want it. You never know. Like, some of your greatest business relationships are formed because people reached out to other people like, look, I don't have the money to invest with you, but I do have this other skill that you may be able to use. So and then it kind of goes from there. Like, so you don't have to always bring money, just bring a skill. It's like, hey man, I can't afford the course, but hey, how about, I can't afford it, but I was like, tell you what, I can give you a referral link, and if you just push this referral link, I'll let you in for free. And if you really get on after that, maybe we can work out some type of deal. I have employees now that have taken this class, and they've been hired on by us to be part of the company. W-2, payroll, the whole nine. So, and they were complete strangers 2 years ago, but they went through, they were productive. They asked questions. They participated. They applied the information. They got the ball rolling. They voluntarily helped out in certain situations, and now they're employees. That's the power of just making those type of connections. You cannot be afraid of making those type of connections, because if you are, you're going to miss out on a lot of information, because just by our own theory, just like you said, it's like, it's nobody's fault that we don't have the information. Your parents can only teach you as much as they have that they were taught. So I can't blame my mother or my father for not teaching me about entrepreneurship, because they weren't entrepreneurs.
Right.
They're looking out for my best interest. So if I go to my mother and say, hey, I remember when I told my mother that I wanted to quit my 40-hour week customer service job with benefits to be a full-time entrepreneur, I would think she probably dropped the phone. Just because it's because although she believes in me, it's just hard to fathom that security that comes with that type of job and leaving that behind. So I can't fault her for not looking at it in that way, because that's not what she knows. She's only looking out for my best interest. In her mind, my best interest is stability. But so when you think about stability, that clashes. Stability is essentially the opposite of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not stability at all. So those two things do not match. Those things clash. So I can't necessarily knock her for being a little concerned for her child when he wants to go out here and say, hey, I'm leaving all this behind to build from the bottom. And there is no guarantee that this is going to be successful. Like, there are no guarantees. You work a 9 to 5, as long as you do probably the bare minimum, you're guaranteed to get that check at the end of the week or every 2 weeks. You may get a bump in pay. You may get some overtime, but overall, you're going to have the same paycheck. You're going to revolve your life around that paycheck. Once you get on this other side, it's like, okay, if I want to do this, if I want to go somewhere, if I want to buy something, it's not how much money does it cost. It's like, how much of my time am I going to have to spend to be able to pay for this or to recoup this? Or Uncle Sam's going to take 40%. Like, do I have my taxes in order? Like, these are the things, the conversations that we don't have, because when we go to work, they handle all that for us. We just got to show up.
Yeah.
For those of you who are just tuning in, our guest tonight is Ryan Henning, the CEO and president of Reignland Official. If you look on the screen, you'll see the website. Y'all go on there, check out the website, and get y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, get y'all some knowledge on the credit and the financials. You know what I'm saying? Like, he offers courses. There's all the information is there. I don't have to break it down. It's right there. ReignlandOfficial.com. But
Yes,
yeah,
we
let's
got
get
a
back
question
to
in
it.
the comments. I think Erica Brown had a question in the comments, Jelks.
Peace, Erica Brown. Thanks for watching. She said, what's your biggest obstacle in entrepreneurship?
Oh, Erica, that is a good question. The biggest obstacle, honestly, the biggest obstacle, and I think we kind of talked about it off air. Honestly, my biggest obstacle for me is survivor's guilt. It's the sacrifice that it took to pursue this. You kind of lose some people along the way. And I think if you're not prepared for that, it could really kind of mess with you, because I tell people, when it comes to finances and business, for the most part, it's relatively the same. If you can make $1,000, you can make $100,000. You just have to do whatever you were doing and just multiply it. If you can make $500, once you make your first $500, it's going to be even easier for you to make your next $1,000. But the mental aspect of it, the grind of it, when it's not going well, when you don't go to Thanksgiving because you have to do this thing, when you can't go to the Thanksgiving dinner because you're having a Thanksgiving or Black Friday sale, when you can't go to that birthday party for your best friend because you're trying to get your inventory in for this upcoming thing that you want to do, you lose a lot of relationships. And sometimes it's just a matter of us being in our own entrepreneurial bubble because you get tunnel vision. It's like I have to focus on this task. Now I know that once I get to the end of this, then I'll be able to not only spend time with people, I'll also be able to help them while I'm spending time with them. But until then, I have to put myself in position to even do that. So I know that. But the people around you, all they're going to see at times is, oh, they don't come around as much. The conversation is different. I can't talk to them about things that aren't, of certain topics. It is not because there's anything wrong with what you're talking about. It's just that my mind's just not on that. So you're going to you may have to spin the block and go do what you got to do and then bring that information back. And then they'll be able to see it for themselves. Like, oh, now I see why you disappeared for 6 months. Like, now I see why you didn't come. Now I see why you didn't, come to my event. I see what goes into it. And then I think that's when you'll be able to open up that dialogue of, because in real time, you're not able to explain it. So I think that is by far, to me, the biggest obstacle is just dealing with that survivor's remorse and dealing with, all the things that come with that isolation. Entrepreneurship can get a little isolated. It can get a little lonely if you're not prepared for it.
Yo, the phone lines are open. The phone lines are open, man. If y'all got any questions, man, and y'all just want to call in and holler at us, man, the number is 901-410-0123. Man, I'm learning a lot, man. I'm learning a lot this episode, bro. Go ahead. Oh,
I was about to say, I got a question for you. How do you balance working with your wife and also being her husband?
Whew. Oh, that's a good question, man. That is a good question. So I will say, and this is coming from somebody who, if anybody knows me and my wife, and we are pretty much around each other all the time. Like we obviously live together, we work together, and since we don't go to an office, we're around each other doing business things. She shoots a lot of content. She has some brand deals, Microsoft and things like that. So her TikTok is blowing up. So we do a lot of family content together with the children. So we're around each other often. So at first there was no balance because it was when you're trying to get something off the ground, you're so focused on, especially as a man, and I could speak candidly on this from a male perspective, especially as a black man, but especially just as a man, there is a certain level of pressure that I put on myself to make sure that I felt like I was doing my part. And, as great as a woman as my wife is, as much of a go-getter as she is, and as supportive as she always has been, we're always going to feel like, okay, I want to make sure that as a man that it's not all on her shoulders. So I can say in the beginning, when we're getting things off the ground, I got my head in the sand. I'm trying to make sure that this foundation is set. You're not going to have to worry about nothing. We're not going to have to worry about nothing. It's up. It's going up, up, up. And once you kind of get more enthralled in it, then you kind of realize, okay, maybe I tilted too much the other way. I tilted too much that way. Because you have to have balance. Because what's going to happen is you don't want it to turn into a situation where y'all are business partners and not friends. Y'all are business partners, but not, lovers. And I think you have to be able to, no matter how busy you are, you have to be able to carve out a piece of time where it's strictly for y'all. Forget about business. Forget about the children for a minute. Forget about the thing you got to get ready for. How are you doing? What do you need from me? What are you not getting from me? Make sure we have those conversations. Even if the only conversation I can give you that day is at the dinner table and before bed, I'm gonna check in. And I think as long as you constantly check in, you constantly evaluate. It's not a matter of you trying to prop somebody up to make sure, because she's a confident woman. But just like I want to be told, like, hey, you doing it. Like every now and again, sometimes you gotta be like, hey, girl, you doing your thing. I just want you to know, like, I appreciate your role and what we got going on. So I feel like you just have to have that balance by just carving out a little bit of time for the thing that you love. Because also you don't want things that you do for a living to start being forced and you start feeling like you have to do it. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to carve out a little time, not only just for your relationships, but also for yourself. You have to carve out a little bit of time to do something that, isn't totally wrapped up in how much money does it make, whether it's some type of hobby or a trip or just something, because you're going to burn out real fast if you hate what you're doing. If you hate what you're doing, it's going to burn out and it's going to be all for nothing. What's the point of working this hard if I can't enjoy it?
Uh-oh.
Hold that
We
thought.
got a caller.
Hey, what's up? You on the Memphis Jelks show with Ryan Henning. Who is this?
My name is Adriana Jones.
Hey, how you doing, Adriana?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for calling the show. How's it going?
Going. Just got off work, got off my 9 to 5. Now I'm at home doing the mama thing and watching you guys' show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Shout out to Mom.
Being a mom, put it like that. I'm a supporter of Ryan and Summers. I follow them. And I just had a question for Ryan.
Okay.
Okay. My question was, when Summer told you to quit your job and she finally, took off on her credit repair business, did you move off faith or you moved off the salt?
So first, let me say, so you say you were a supporter. So thank you for that. Just off the very top. Thank you for supporting the both of us. We appreciate everybody who supports us. Now, as for your question, back when we first decided we were going to take off and really do this, it was a little bit of both. I think I was a little more, to be honest, faith-based, where I knew the possibility. I knew how much I believed in her. So when that time came, I said, hey, you quit your job, do this thing full time. And then I'll hold everything down. And then once we kind of get more seasoned, then I'll go ahead and step out too and really, we'll really tackle this thing head on. So I think I was more faith-based. She was more of the opposite because she wanted to see, she's like, she needed to see more income over a sustained period of time. So I think for anybody who is thinking about it or who has a spouse or anything in that regard, I think you have to have that conversation about the expectation and what the plan is. Because in the end, we both were right. I had enough faith in her to know what she was capable of, but I also knew in order for her to reach that potential, she had to not worry about how the bills were going to get paid and how we were going to support each other. So I was willing to sacrifice being at a job that I didn't necessarily care for, but the greater good, I had to go ahead and allow her to go ahead and reach her full potential. And then, lo and behold, she took off, and then I was able to come right behind her, and here we are. So there's a little bit of both. I think you need a little bit of both.
Yeah, that was just my biggest question. Like I said, you guys, because I know you guys are family of 5 all together. You guys have 3 children together. I'm a mom of 4, so I kind of, got a big responsibility underneath my belt. But, like I said, I've been, trying to break generational curses underneath my behalf. I didn't have nobody get my credit together or have it laid out for me. So I've just been in the midst of just trying to prepare better for my kids. And I know it's something better out there for me, and God got something better for me. So I'm just trying not to lose faith and just staying steadfast. Like you said, I've been paying attention to the stability part because I'm working a 9 to 5 for a job I do not like, but I got. That was something greater for me. So I just been trying to do my research and just,
just keep doing your research. And I would tell you this, even when in regards to your credit, have you ever had anybody work on it before?
No, I've never had.
Okay.
Never had. Just have reached out to certain people. I've been DIY, do it yourself. Just learning and research and learning a lot from you and Summer.
Okay. Now, let me ask, how long, because you've been researching, how long have you been researching for in regards to your credit?
A little bit over 6 months. I done bought a few of you guys' books that you guys have, the ones that I can't afford. They're ebooks. I bought a few of those. I'm on you guys' email list. So I've just been, just paying attention, just slowly but surely trying to know what I can know, doing the research when I got the time.
Okay. Well, let me ask, what do you think your biggest credit kind of hurdle is? Do you have something on your credit? Do you not have any credit? What do you think your biggest credit issue is?
Yeah, it's that establishing credit. I got a few bills, medical bills. I don't have no car repos or nothing that drastic and stuff like that. It's just like establishing credit. I have a Capital One credit card, but it's a secure credit card. It's not really too much of nothing. So yeah, I'm in the midst of building credit because they basically told me I don't have any credit. I've been in the midst of setting it up.
Okay, that Capital One card, that secure card. I'm assuming you use it. You make your payments on time. How long have you had it?
Yeah, I done had my Capital One for about 6 months now, and I try to keep my utilization really low and learn a lot from you guys. Try to use it. It comes in handy. It helps me, with my money. It's kind of, funny. I'd rather use that versus using my hard-earned money I'm working blood, sweat, and tears for, So, yeah, I've been on time, making payments on time.
Okay, all right, and you do know about, or are you aware about the percentage for utilization and paying it before your statement date, things like that?
Yeah, yep. Yes,
okay.
I do.
Okay, well, yeah, it sounds like you definitely, because I always try to establish. I actually, to be honest with you, is sometimes it's easy to build credit when you don't really have any, rather than it's kind of easy to do that than actually fix bad ones. So you're on the right track. Medical bills, the medical bills are probably hurting you more now because if you only have, let's say you only have 3 accounts and 2 of those are bad medical bills, then it's going to drag the entire score down anyway. So in your case, we would normally advise that you would just need more accounts. Now, some people normally ask, just how do you get more accounts if you can't get any more credit cards? And that's where you already have the secure card with Capital One. There are other secure credit cards you can get that don't take a whole lot of money as well, like the Discover It card, for example. That's typically a card used by college students, but it's a secure card. You can also, instead of a secure credit card, you can also go to your local credit union, get you a secure loan. It's the same format, except for you're going to put the $300 or so in the savings account, and then they'll essentially loan that $300 back out to you, and then you'll just make your payments back on that loan. So that serves 2 purposes. One, you're securing loans. So then when you do pay that off, you'll be more likely to get an unsecured loan from that bank. So you're building a relationship with that bank instead of a credit card company that you may not be using later on. And then at the same time, you can take that, tell people, get you a secured loan, say $300-$500, go to your credit union, put it in a savings account. They're going to give you the money back. I want you to take half of that money that they just gave you back and then put it back on the account. So you put $500 in there. I want you to, as soon as they get the money back to you, I want you to pay $250 on it right away. So now you still have $250 left out of that. What purpose that serves is that's going to make that monthly payment manageable for you. But then you take that $250 that they just gave you back and you go repeat the process with another credit union. So you're going to do the same thing. So the goal of that is you have 3 loans with some big credit unions working in your favor, but they're small minimum payments. So they're going to show if it's a 6-month loan or a year-long loan, but you pay half of it, your payment may only be $15 a month. You do that times 3, it's $45 a month. And after 6-8 months, then you'll be able to go back to those banks and get unsecured loans. You'll be able to get unsecured credit cards. You'll get lines of credit, and you build a relationship with those banks because they've shown that you're able to pay back whatever you owe over a certain period of time.
Okay, Ryan, I appreciate that so much.
No, it's no problem at all. But you're definitely on the right track. You just keep doing what you're doing. If you're at the 6-month mark, around the 6-month mark of those secure cards, you're gonna probably start to see, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're gonna start seeing them send offers for unsecured credit cards to them. Or if you haven't gotten it by now,
they done offered me. they'd offer me limits, like limit raises, like I can increase my credit value, all that stuff. I've been getting those. And I've just been trying to wing it where I don't want to set myself up for failure. I don't want to take on too much debt. I know.
But you sound responsible.
What you told me, you gave me this free game. As far as these credit unions, I'm definitely going to run with this. And like you said, that's building a relationship, putting a good name with them credit unions. So that's only going to show good results and take you places, take me where I need to go. So I definitely appreciate this.
It's no problem at all. You just keep working and keep doing your thing and just keep doing what you're doing. You're already on the right track and you can make it despite the circumstances now. And you can definitely make it. It's not impossible. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're definitely on the right track. That's coming from me.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Ryan. You keep giving back. You want something. Y'all keep shining and I'm rooting for y'all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling in. Yo, I like that she put God first too, man. That's a blessing, man. Yo, I just learned something too, man. I'm learning so much during this episode, man. I hope the viewers are learning too, man. That was some game, man, about those credit unions.
She said she was a follower, man, and as much as we at a certain point we've been doing it for so long, man. It's just sometimes you just feel it on you to just try to help somebody, and that's kind of the whole base of this in the first place. So somebody in need, I think that's the power. Even like in her situation, a lot of the blockage comes from mindset. Like a lot of it just situational. It's environment. It's not being able, like we all said earlier, it's just not being able to see the entire picture. And I think that's what kind of hinders a lot of people from being able to get where they're trying to go, because they just can't imagine it. They can't see it. And I think once the light bulb goes off, like even in our academy, like you'll be surprised, like people who a little hesitant at first, they don't really fully understand. And then once that light goes off and you kind of see like, oh, okay. And then they get their first card or they get their first approval because they're so used to denials. Like all it takes is one yes. Once you get one yes, you would be amazed at how much that changes your entire perspective on what you got going forward.
Dope. We got Ashley Williams in the building. She said, when it comes to credit repairs, what are your opinions on credit debt relief programs?
So, all right. So that's a very good question. So, and this is assuming she is referring to like consolidation. What I would say is debt consolidation loans specifically I don't normally advise them. And that's only because typically the interest rates are so high for those type of loans that I don't normally advise people to take them. I would advise you, if you just kind of need some relief in terms of organization, that's just a matter of getting all your stuff together and then figuring out what your plan of action is. Really in terms of, who can you afford to pay, what you can afford to pay, who you need to pay. Is it in collections or is it with the original owner? Now logically, a lot of people, when you look at your credit report, you're going to see, you may see AT&T, and then you're going to see, depending on how long it's been on there, you're going to see, let's say ABC collection agency as well. So it may be the same account, the same amount. One's with AT&T, one's with ABC collection agency. ABC collection agency more than likely purchased that debt from AT&T. So typically, just to give a synopsis here, typically what happens, you go, let's say you get a phone from AT&T. You were supposed to pay a certain amount of money. For whatever reason, you don't pay anymore on that 6 months, or not 6 months, 60 days go by, time keep going by, you just decided for whatever reason, you just can't pay it. What happens from there, when they realize they cannot get that money from you, what happens is called a charge-off. When they charge that account off, that means that they are going to file that charge off on their taxes as a loss. It's unrecoverable. So essentially it's like, hey, we tried, we failed, we ain't gonna get it from them. So let's just move on. We're gonna write off on our taxes as a loss. We're gonna move on. Now, one of two things happen. It either stays with them and they just kind of hold on to it, but they charge it off. So once they charge it off, they can't come back to you and try to get it because they've already written it off on their tax returns. However, they can sell it to a collection agency.
Right.
So ABC collection agency will reach out or use a system, and they'll essentially, it's a big database of files. Essentially, I always tell people to look at it as like a file. You are a file. So when they reach out through whatever means they reach out, and AT&T has Memphis Jelks file, it's going to have everything that you signed when you got that contract. So the signed contract, your signature, if you had to provide a picture of your ID, all the ins and outs we probably never read is in that contract, which, by the way, probably in small print on page 16 was probably the thing that told you that if you didn't pay, they were going to send you to collections. A lot of people don't read that part, but that's neither here nor there. So ABC collection agency comes to AT&T and was like, hey, man, well, he owes you $500. Let me buy this debt from you, and then we'll try to get it from him. You know, now they're not going to pay $500 because a debt collector only job is to try to get money from you. So if I pay $500 for it and you pay me $500 for it, I didn't make no money. So they buy your debt from AT&T for pennies on the dollar. You owe them $500, they may end up buying it for $120. Buy it for $120. Anything they get from you after that is all profit. So that's when you start to get the calls, the emails, the letters saying, hey, you know, you're being called by a debt collector. This amount. There are ways and there are strategies that you need to be aware of, and there are rights that you need to be aware of that are in what's called the Fair Credit Reporting Act. The Fair Credit Reporting Act is essentially, I don't want to call it your Bible, but it's a very crucial handbook when it comes to your rights as a consumer. So the Fair Credit Reporting Act has not only the reasons why you could dispute something on your credit report, it also has information in there regarding the hours that collection agencies can reach out to you. It also has information that says, for example, like I said, they can't call you before a certain time. They can't call you after a certain time. If you tell them not to call you anymore, they can't call you anymore. They have to take you off their call list. There's a whole nother thing in regards to that, because you may be setting yourself up. And I haven't said this outside of the class. So because you're getting spicy here.
Exclusive.
So, that's all we do.
I tell my students that a lot of them say, okay, well, you mean to tell me I can just tell them not to call me and they won't call me anymore? I was like, yeah, they can't call you anymore. But what could possibly happen is, depending on your situation, let's just say that they try to take you to court. You told them not to call you. You don't get mail at the address that they have on file. They send you a court summons to appear in court to dispute this account. You don't get the phone call. You don't get the letter. You don't know to show it to court. They get an automatic default judgment for that amount plus court costs. So you've automatically, even though I don't advise our students to talk to them over the phone, because you don't want to get in a situation where you either restart the time on that account or you agree to a lesser amount over the phone, but then you have no evidence because you have no documentation showing that. So then it doesn't come off your credit report. You call them like, hey, I told Sandy, or Sandy said if I pay this, they're going to take it off my credit report. They're going to ask you who you talked to. They're going to say they have no record. There's no paperwork. You have no documentation. So you need to be aware, like, yeah, you can tell them not to call you. You can tell them to mail you. The proper way to do it is, I tell my students, either you receive a letter or you receive a phone call. Respond to it. If they call you, say, look, I have no knowledge of what you're speaking of, but anything you have regarding this, you can send it in the mail. That way you have documentation. That way, when they send you something regarding that account, now you could either respond to that with your own letter, which you can go a multitude of different ways, or you can dispute it through, either yourself, a credit repair company. You could dispute it with the credit bureaus at that point and ask for evidence to support what they're saying. Because remember, they bought your account for pennies on the dollar. But that also means that they may not have bought the entire file. So all of this is just a game of proof and semantics in the eyes of the law. I'm gonna tell your audience, there is no magic trick to this. It is just knowing your rights, knowing the laws, knowing the credit laws, knowing what your rights are as a consumer, and knowing what they can and cannot do and what they must prove. It is the burden is to prove the two reasons why you can dispute anything on your credit report and get anything deleted is if it's either incorrect or it's unverifiable. They either have to prove that it's yours, or they have to prove that it's correct. And mind you, a lot of people don't even know that you have 3 credit scores. So, of course, everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody at this point got Experian boost and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But you still have Equifax. You still have TransUnion. Those are your main 3 big credit bureaus. So you, depending on who your lender's pulling from, you're going to have 3 different scores, because not all lenders, not all accounts report to the same credit bureau. That's why if you pull all 3, you may see an account. You may see AT&T on Equifax and Experian, but not on TransUnion. You may see it on 1 to 2 out of 3. You may see it on 1 out of the 3. It depends on who they want to or who they choose to submit that information to. So if you're going to, when it comes to collection, like if you're going to have them not call you, you need to make sure you're prepared to fight it by either letters, get a credit repair company to submit them on your behalf. If you really want to take it there, you can go to court and ask them to prove what they're saying. Because 9 times out of 10, if they bought your file, they may have bought the contract that you originally signed. They may only have maybe your ID. They may only have the first page of the contract, but not the page with your signature on it. They may have added fees that you don't even know about after they bought that debt from AT&T. But if you just never show up to court, you're going to let them win. So you need to show up to court. You only show up to court if you get your summons. So we always advise no one thing when it comes to that. Not every collection agency is going to sue you, but depending on the amount of the debt and depending on the company, some of them are more likely to take you to court for the amount. If it's a smaller amount, 120, 130, 150, it's going to cost more to take you to court for it in court costs than they'll actually get from you for the debt that you owe.
And we got Ashley Williams. She said, "You are God sent."
And shout out to Ashley, man. Shout out to Ashley. That's a good question. Don't let people pick you about credit repair. Credit repair is fine as long as they're doing it the right way.
Erica Brown says, "Can the collection agency sue you since they are not the original creditor?"
Yeah. So Erica, yes, they can sue you because that goes back to the paperwork that not all of us reads all the fine print. So in a lot of the original fine print, that's where you have that information in there regarding who assumes the debt after this. So once they buy it, most of them won't take you to court, depending on the amount. Now, of course, you owe $20,000, $30,000, then it kind of goes from there. But that's why it's more incumbent upon you to, if they do take you to court, they have to prove and validate that debt is yours. That means they need to have the paperwork, the signature, all that information. And for some people, that does happen. But you rather go and make them prove it to you, and then you can make arrangements from there, than just try to ignore it. I don't ever encourage anybody to ignore a problem or ignore a potential problem, because what's going to happen is you're going to want to get a house one day. You're going to want to get a vehicle. You're going to want to get a business loan. And there's a lot of conversation about business credit and personal credit and, balancing between the two and how you don't need this and you don't need that. I'm going to tell you now, if you got a business and you're just starting out, you're going to need good personal credit, because what's going to happen is you're going to have to PG. More than likely, you're going to have to PG your first business loan, which is going to be PG stands for personal guarantee. So essentially, because let's look at it like this. You're a brand new business. You don't have any tax returns. You don't have any proof of income yet, but you want to go to a bank and you want them to loan you money with no proof that you've ever been able to handle this type of cash before. That doesn't make any sense. So what happens is they're going to, okay, well, essentially you're going to co-sign your business. You're going to personal guarantee your business. They're going to pull your personal credit score and your personal credit profile and say, like, okay, well, the business doesn't have anything, but this person does. So let's give them a run. Then once you establish some type of, business credibility, then you'll be able to use, your personal guarantor less. But that's why before you even get to that aspect, you have to address the personal side. The personal side is going to unlock so many things. And we don't want to get to a point where we are ignoring our personal credit because we're thinking that, okay, well, all I got to do is do this. Because even we teach in our class, look, my goal is to get you to have good credit, but I also want you to have good credit to be able to utilize it to make more money. A lot of us are in a position where we're not broke in terms of, we can't make more money. We're just broke based on habits, based on routine. You just don't make enough. So we always try to figure out ways like, boom, we're going to teach you how the millionaires do it. We're going to teach you how Walmart does it, how the movie theater does it. The movie theater, just like all other businesses, are millions, $1 billion in debt. Hotels, they work on debt. They are never out of debt. They borrow from the banks and then they keep borrowing, they pay, they keep borrowing, they pay. They are millions of dollars in debt, but they're utilizing good debt to be able to fund the businesses and then essentially living off the income, the net income of that. So we teach people, yes, getting your credit together is one aspect. Then we're going to show you how to take this credit and fund the business, get a business loan, help you come up with the business strategy to be able to utilize that credit to be able to start to travel, try to get those reward points, try to get those travel credit cards to give you, 2x on your miles. I tell people, I use it as an example. I have a credit card. And a lot of people don't know, I also have a car rental business. You have multiple businesses. Car rental is one of them. I literally took a credit card and I went to a lot and I got a car with that credit card to then put on a rental platform that makes me $1,200 a month in income off of that one car. So not only did I get the car to make me some income, I also got the reward points for spending the money on the credit card that I could then either use to buy my personal purchases, like my designer goods, or like my designer shirt, or like my designer shoes, or I could take it and convert it into travel where I can go and take my kids to Miami. I can go with my wife to Los Angeles to build up those reward points. That's the power of encompassing all of this information to be able to get your lifestyle where you need it to go. There's one thing to have good credit, but if you have good credit and never use it, what's the point?
Woo.
Cuz, man, you need to start your podcast because I'm going to watch that mug faithfully, bro. I'm going to watch that faithfully, man. I'm learning so much, man. For real.
You got a boot camp or something?
Yeah. Y'all need to come to the boot camp.
Coming from where we came from, man, like, look, once that light goes off in your head and you realize, like, man, like, I'm just not made to be I'm not doing this to be unhappy. I just, what I'm saying? Like, I tell my students, man, I kid you not, our first year in business, we made more money in our first year of business than I made my whole 20s. So from 20 to 30, I made more money that first year in business than I made the entire decade. If that don't let you know what you capable of, when you, like I was telling the lady earlier, you gotta have both, because the faith is what's gonna get you through those real tough times, and that grind is what's gonna get you to follow up that faith with the work. Because what they say that faith without work is dead. So
it's dead.
Yep. That's what was
That's
ringing.
dead, Jack.
That's what was ringing in my head as you were saying that.
That's
Man.
facts. So like I tell people this, man, like this is real. This is not. I didn't have a trust fund. I didn't have a life insurance policy come my way. I didn't I didn't even work for a CEO of a big company and kind of get the rub. This is washing dishes for 8 years with no plan, getting a job in customer service and thinking, man, 40-hour work week, health benefits like medical, dental, overtime, set schedule, 9 to 5. Oh, this is it. I'm good. I could work here forever. And then you see things along the way that's like, there's more. And I want more. And it kind of go from there, man. And it just takes off.
Well, that's definitely why, man, it's been an honor and a blessing to have you on the podcast tonight, bro, man. This probably been this has been like the most like, this is one of the most important shows we done had since we started this podcast.
Listen.
I appreciate it, man. Look, like I said, when you let me know, I jumped at the chance, man, because I'm like, look, to be fully transparent, man, like I admire what you're doing, and also a lot of people don't understand as outward as I am, and as in the spotlight as we may be, like on our level, I never think that I'm better than anybody, and I still do have my own flaws and have my own issues as well. Like I tell people all the time, and like this is not just because I think the problem with some people is the reason they can't get to a certain level is because they are worried about how that level is perceived to people who in the grand scheme don't matter. Yeah. And that's why you have the people who nobody will buy from me. My friends don't support me. People are talking about me, or something like that. And it's just like, man, like one of my mottos I had very early on is I wake up every day like nobody cares. Like if nobody cared what you were doing, how hard would you work? Like if nobody cared about that car you were driving, would you still want it? Right. If nobody cared about them shoes you were wearing, would you still buy them? And if depending on your answer, that's going to tell you how far you're going to go. Because at the end of the day, you have to do this because you love it. And you have to do it because you're passionate about it, or you will not survive. You will not make it. There's too many hills and valleys for you to be like essentially half-assing it. Like you got to be fully committed. Like there was no plan B. When we quit our jobs, when my wife and I quit our job and said, we're going to do this, they offered me, they said, you can come back. I put in my 2 weeks. I put in my 2 weeks notice. I just had, I believe 2 weeks ago, I just had the anniversary of the day I quit. I put in my 2 weeks notice. I said, I just didn't want to do it anymore. I just woke up and, most of us, when we have a regular job, when we wake up right before work, we may sit on the edge of the bed, kind of contemplate life. You may get in the parking lot and like, man, I don't really want to go in here, but you kind of have to. You have to go in there because you kind of shake it off and you keep it moving. It got to a point where I just hated what I did. I just hated waking up and doing what I was doing. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew it had to be better than what I was waking up doing every day. So when I finally did decide that was going to be it, I remember very vividly. We took the oldest on a birthday trip. We were on a birthday trip, got an Airbnb, like a mini mansion. Friends and family were there. It was fantastic. And I made my decision right then. I was like, yeah, I kind of want to do this all the time. I don't know how, but I'm going to do this all the time. So we came back. I put in my 2 weeks notice the day I got back from that trip. I lasted 4 more days after that. Put in the rest of my PTO time and said, I'm not coming back to work. And they said, hey, we understand, but if you ever want to come back, just let us know. I was like, to be honest, I don't want to ever have to come back. No disrespect to you. I don't plan on coming back. And that mentality of I'm not going back is the reason why I'm here. The reason why I am where I am now is because I refused to go back. And I was willing to do whatever it took to make sure I never had to go back and to make sure my wife never had to go back.
That's real, man. That's real, cuz. and you're proving that it can be done. You know, a lot of people out there, man, if y'all watching, man, you know, you're seeing that it can be done. That's one of the main things that we like to do on this podcast is to bring people on, man, to show people that there are people who are living out their dreams, and you can do it too. You know what I'm saying? They can do it too. You know, so when they hear the testimonies of like you, or if they're aspiring to be a musician and we have a musician on here or something, or like that should be inspiration enough for them to really, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and get their stuff kicked into gear and get started, man. You know, right now is the time to start on your dream. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't keep putting it off till tomorrow. Like I've been doing my album. but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I'm pushing it back. No, but that's neither here nor there though, man. But dang, cuz man, it's been a blessing and an honor to have you on the show tonight, man. And anytime you want to come on here and just kick it and chill with us, man, you more than welcome. Cuz man, you already know.
I appreciate you, man. If we time it out, I want to just leave them with something. If you don't mind, of course, like we were talking about, we do have our Credit Academy open right now. Our regular enrollment is Friday. It is a 6-week course. We break down credit from beginning to end, from the fundamentals all the way to the end of how you can utilize it to make some more income for you and your family. Like I said, there's a private Facebook group for that as well. So we have live Q&As. We have moderators in there. So we go step by step to get you from the beginning to understand what credit is and what it represents, to how to fix it, to what to do with it after. If you want to start a business with it, tax information. We have special guests popping in and out. We try to give you, everything we got. We also have our Reignland car rental course. So if you ever thought about, people may have heard of Turo, but they may not have heard of some of the other rental platforms. Put your vehicle on there. You can make some passive income on there. And also as well, just some words of encouragement. This doesn't happen overnight. 2016, 2017, maybe, before we even took off. I remember very vividly, I was making the most money I ever made in my life up to that point. I had a stable job. I had benefits. And I woke up one day in the midst of all that, and my lights were off. The lights were cut off because amongst all that I had going on positively, I still didn't have the knowledge, and I still didn't have the education to know what I was doing wrong. I still refused to acknowledge what I wasn't doing, and I was more focused on whose fault it was. But when I woke up that morning and those lights were turned off, because nobody knew, I had to decide which bill I was going to pay because I was fumbling my money and I had debt up to my ears and I didn't know what to do. I couldn't tell anybody. That was the wake-up call for me. Like, you got to get it together. You can't keep doing this. And that experience right there is more valuable than, I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. Experiences like those are more valuable than that 4-year degree I got. Because I can have all the education in the world from this place or this course or this book or this video, but until I actually get into a real world situation to apply what I just learned, you're going to be stagnant for the rest of your life. And I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, cuz. That's so real, man. Oh, you got any last words you want to say before we get out of here?
Man, listen, Ryan, appreciate you coming on the show tonight, man. I need you to go back and sign up to be on the show again so we can have an episode 2, man. I think the people who watched tonight was very beneficial. And I'll just leave it with this. I think the most pivotal thing that resonated the most with me, faith without works is dead. You got to have both of them. It takes the faith and the works. And I think a lot of times people have the faith, but they lack the work. So just keep putting in the work. And once the faith match the work, things will begin to come to life. But without the two, it remains dead.
Facts.
I guess it's my turn now. Man, I can't thank you enough, cuz man, for coming on the show, man. Even if you weren't my cousin, man, you would still be a big inspiration to me. And I've watched you grow, over the years, man, and you still continue to grow. You're still on an upward trajectory, you know what I'm saying, like you always have been, man. Reignland is a dope company, you know what I'm saying? I definitely got to get me some of the apparel, and then I got to check in, man, and get me some of that knowledge too, man.
Yes,
so I'm gonna come on there and see which courses can help me out too, you know what I'm saying, as well,
I got you. Just let me know. You already know we locked in, man. Just let me know. We gonna work something out. Maybe we can get some type of, we can get some. You can do some business together on top of that. Maybe a little sponsorship deal. Maybe I'm just
for sure. Oh yeah. Hey, we love you here, man, at the Memphis Jelks show. We could go on and on. So you're invited, like said, please, come back on again, re-sign up to come back and do another episode, man, because yo, that's the knowledge that you're giving, man, is something that's deeply needed in our community. It's something that's not talked about a lot. It's like I said, it's kind of like the psychiatrist. It's like a phobia around it. You know what I mean? But it feels better coming from a brother. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to anybody else, but it feels better coming from a brother who we can relate to. You know what I'm saying? Not only do you got the knowledge, but you know what I'm saying, you live it every day. You know what I'm saying? Your wife, your family, all of y'all are, you know what I'm saying, doing well and good and successful. And black people, and black people, man, we need y'all, man. We need y'all to keep inspiring us, keep teaching us the way, because we don't know the way. You know what I'm saying? And we're scared to ask. So people out there, man, here's the website one more time before we go, man. It's reignlandofficial.com. That's REIGN official.com, man. Y'all go here, man, because this knowledge, man, could change your entire life for the better, for you and your family, and you know what I'm saying, put you in a position to leave some generational wealth. And that's what it's all about. I'm gonna let you say one more thing, Ryan, man, and then we're gonna ride out, cuz
man, look, like I said, just to cap it off, man, I appreciate you. Appreciate y'all letting me on, man, just to expose me to y'all audience. I think we definitely need more of this in general, more collaboration, more people, helping people, putting them on their platforms in exchange for other things, and just kind of building that community, building that foundation. Anybody, if anybody could do it, if I did it, anybody can do it. It just takes a little bit of confidence, a whole lot of faith, crazy faith on top of that, but it's definitely possible. And like I said, I'm easily, if you want to have a conversation, because like anytime you want to have a conversation, you can always hit me. We are definitely going to do a part 2 where we're going to get even more spicy about a lot of other different things. Yes. We're going to get more in depth. We're going to set that up, and we're going to have a part 2 if your audience like this one. I don't know how many views it's going to get, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm going to get 1 million views, because I don't know people like me like that. But you know what I'm saying? If your audience like this and they want to do a part 2, we can definitely do a part 2.
I can tell you right now, man, my audience loves this, man. And a lot of them, they don't watch on the first night, because a lot of them work like second shift or third shift or something like that. But they always make it their business to get up the next morning, like on that Thursday morning. And then that's when I start seeing a rise in the numbers. They even if they can't catch it live, they make sure to catch it later. And that's one thing I like about the doing this, is that it never goes away. You know what I'm saying? And I have the files archived too. So if Twitter go down, Facebook go down, all that stuff go down, just come to Memphis, come to memphisjelks.com. We locked in.
Next time, part 2, we gonna get real spicy next time. We gonna talk about marketing next time. We're gonna talk about business structure next time. We're gonna talk about taxes next time, because I got some stories. We're gonna talk about all that. So next time, we're gonna get real spicy with, if you want to know how to do this, we're gonna talk about how to do this. But they gotta stay tuned for that part 2.
Yes, man. We can't wait. So there y'all have it, man. Ryan Henning, CEO and president of Reignland Official. Y'all go check out the website. Y'all hit them up on social media. Are you on the Instagram, social media?
Man. Yeah, man. We on Facebook. We on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. It's Mr. Reignland. I'm on TikTok too. Same thing, Mr. Reignland. Shout out to my wonderful, beautiful, foundational, can't do without a wife. Please follow her if you don't follow her already, which I'm pretty sure most of them already do. Summer Rain Henning on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It's the same. She is a powerhouse. I learn so much from her every day, and she literally is a powerhouse. And I am so thankful for her every chance I get. I try to tell her that.
There it is. I love you, cuz, man, and we out. Let's go.
Squad up, haters down, haters down. If you ain't about that life, don't come around, don't come around. Got the crowd,